So here I am at my house, and had kind of a bad day yesterday. Went fishing, and coming home, I heard a rattle when I made a turn, and that tire locked up. Couldn't figure out what exactly happened. Changed the tire, I'll show you in a minute, but this is, as you see, the spare. Also have a leak there, the seal. It's got to get fixed. So there's the tire. That's where I drug it for a while until I could change it. The entire brake assembly fell off. Now, have you ever had that happen? One bolt's there, a little crooked, the other one fell out. The rim is cracked. I don't know if you can see it or not, right there. It's cracked. That was exciting. I'm glad I wasn't going 60 miles an hour down the road. So there's always something with a boat. Number one, you have the motor. That's going to break down. Then you have stuff in the boat. That's going to break down. Then you have, if you have a dual axle, you got 4 tires to worry about with hubs and seals and everything else. And then you have the trailer, the boat, the motor, and a truck. And if you notice, I have a newer truck because mine, I think it's dead. It died on me. It's got 201,000 miles. It's got a Hemi in it. It's a Dodge Durango. It's done great, but something about the solenoids and the cylinders, it's just not firing right. So we're going to have to redo all that. So I decided it was time to bury it and get something else. So that's what I've done. So anyway, that was my exciting day yesterday. I'll keep you abreast of what happens because I want to know why the whole brake assembly fell off. I've never had that happen. I want to give you an update. I'm here in the boat yard. I like to call it the boat yard, but it's basically our storage unit, and with all the other boats and the RVs and campers and everything else. But they were able to put the old caliper back on. I'm not gonna get down there, but anyway, just trust me. Oh, I don't know if you can see it or not. But anyway, they were able to salvage the old caliper. I got a new tire and a new rim. They don't make my old rims anymore, so I'm gonna try and find a rim repair shop to get it repaired and use it as a spare, so at least the wheels match up. But that happened a week before vacation. What we had to do was get this in the shop, and fortunately the people, I was an old customer, so they worked with me and they put me ahead of some other people, and because they knew I wanted to go on vacation, they got it ready for me. Got it fixed finally. There's a couple things they still need to do to finish it up right, but we went on down there to Lake Murray, and we got a house that had a dock right there on the lake, and we wanted to make sure that we had a dock on the lake so I could just pull the boat up to it, didn't have to launch it every day, could go and come as I please. That just makes a world of difference. So here's the story of our vacation. There's always something with a boat. Number one, you have the motor, and sometimes stuff just happens, and we're flying down the lake. We had a great day, spent some time on an island, and we're heading back. We're about 6 miles away from the house, and like, what is going on? And this thing just loses power, shuts off. Like, daggone, what's going on? It went into Guardian mode. We try to start it, try to run it, and of course the alarm's going off. So I trolling motor, and we're in the middle of the lake, so it took me forever to use a trolling motor to get over to a bank I didn't film this part, but I should have. I was just irritated. So backed the boat up to the bank, raised the motor up, popped the cowling off, and that water sensor, I didn't know what the heck it is. I called my mechanic up, said, what is this thing? Sent him a picture of it, and he said, water sensor for the fuel separator, whatever that thing's called. And so he told me, push it in there as far as I can and just head on back, you know, plug it up with something. So I turned into a MacGyver. Well, I didn't have anything with me except in my GoPro case, I carry these little, I don't know what they are, but they're mushy putty stuff that you put on the ends of the cameras, like you put on those fittings right there to you know, close them up for, you know, dust and debris and water, etc. So I pushed it back in there, and I pushed a bunch of that stuff up in there, and we were able to limp back just in gear 6 miles. How long did that take? That was a long time. So we finally get back. Then I call around to everybody. Nobody down there carried that Mercury part. So there was a guy that had an old part, and he cannibalized it and pulled that sensor out and just gave it to me. Special shout out. I'll put his name here. But he did, you know, he treated me right. That was very, very nice. So zipped down there, got that part, pulled out the old part, put the new part in, and it ran fine. So that, but we're, you know, you still don't know really what's going on inside, so that has me concerned. So next week I take it to the shop for them to do a better diagnostic test on it to see what's going on. So we stayed in that area of the lake for the rest of the vacation. So I wanted to show you this part. It's that sensor. This piece right here is the new piece that I put in, and it connects to electric down there. That's the fuel pump, I believe. This is the fuel filter, and the separator thingamajiggy, whatever that thing's called. Anyway, fuel filter was changed November 15th or 16th, 2019. So I don't know what the deal was with it, but I know that whole thing came out. And it was exciting, not in a good way, because we just had the trailer happen. You know what I mean? And we're on vacation. And then we had something else bad happen on vacation too, but I can't tell you about that. It's not public knowledge yet. Yeah, everybody's healthy, but can't say anything. So with all that being said, let's look back at the vacation. We did have some beautiful sunsets, gorgeous sunsets. Here's a couple pictures. I'm fishing around with a buzz bait, you know, just along the bank. It's dark, coming into our cove where the house is, and this is kind of a funny scene.
Oh gosh, y'all scared me. Y'all like ninjas out here. I came around the corner, saw a bunch of faces. Not that your faces scare me, it's just like, wasn't expecting to see people. How y'all doing? The bugs eating you up?
Not yet. They will, I'm sure.
Man, I must be too sweet. They're not on my wife either, but they're all over me.
I know that you guys want to see some fish catches, so I caught this fish on a spoon, as you can see. So I love fishing a spoon, except that I'm not in an area where I fish it a lot, even in Virginia, although I could have and should have.
Suzuki.
Good motor.
Huh?
It's a good motor.
Got it. You got me hung up.
Got it sideways.
You got caught? Is that fish?
Yeah, it's a fish. Haven't seen him yet. On a spoon, near some docks. I want to see what I got him hooked in the back, I think. way he's pulling. Oh yeah. I finally got a bass.
Finally.
Yeah, he might come off though. Because I got a hook inside. Oh! Yeah. Woo!
Let me see.
Hang on.
Hey, hurry up, 'cause I think.
Alright, there we go.
That's a nice one.
Finally on vacation. Mwah. So my setup is a Rick Morris rod. I'm gonna lay it down here so you can see. It's a Strike King Sexy Spoon. Big old sexy spoon. Big old hook, feather trailer on. I put on those swivels. Big split ring. So anyway, love fishing that thing, and I've caught some. Check out my video, Smith Mountain Lake State Park Challenge. Also, I fish it on a Rick Morris chatterbait rod, 7.3 medium heavy, 20-pound fluorocarbon. I mean, it does good for me. I'm sure he has a better rod selection for it, but since I don't do it a whole lot, that's the one I use. And on this particular rod, because I like a slow gear ratio for a chatterbait, I use the old Corrados, and they just do really, really good for me. They're just workhorses. So that's my setup for a spoon. You know, it's sad to say that out of 4 days at the lake there, I only caught 2 fish. And I have an excuse though. Fishermen always have an excuse. You know, the sun wasn't in my eye, nothing like that. But what did happen is I did not research the lake. I didn't, like, if I was going to do a tournament, I would do some Google Earth, I'd do some map study, I'd do some YouTube videos, things like that. I didn't really research the lake. I didn't spend a couple days trolling around trying to find those brush piles, especially after that motor acted the way it did. I just stayed close. You know, I didn't spend a whole lot. I spent a whole lot of time on the trolling motor, which is, you know, an excuse. But nevertheless, that's my excuse, and I'm sticking to it. But I talked to a guy who was catching stripers, and they were catching them at 30 feet deep. But I know there's a population of bass shallow. But that was another frustrating thing, just not catching fish. Our original plan was to go to upstate New York, but I didn't want to be quarantined for 2 weeks. So maybe next year. Maybe I'll just sneak up there in September. What do you think? Man, took my legs off. Oh man. Oh. So I'm fishing this brush pile. 20 feet of water. Off the end of a ramp here. I don't know what that was. I don't know if that was a bass or a perch or what, but man, it's been so difficult. Found a couple brush piles, a couple rock piles, visiting them throughout the day, nothing. That was the first bite I had out of it. I don't even know if that was a bass. No top water, no schooling, just the Dead Sea. I don't know enough about the lake. I like to go far up the river or down by the dam, but I'd have to put the boat on the trailer and take it. Right now with the water sensor, I'm not trusting that. I sure don't want to get stranded again. got a fish. I finally got me a fish. And it's a decent one. Wow! Finally on Lake Murray on vacation. Fished 4 days trying to figure these guys out. Lay down, 10 feet of water, back of the creek. So there's a resident fish, I'm sure. Really don't want to lose you, bud, because you have definitely been hard enough to catch. It's for daggone sure. It's a decent one. Definitely don't want to boom! Look how fat he is. There we go. On the shaky head. Finally. Finally. The little fatty. Mwah. Finally. Well, he barely took it too. There you go. Usually I'm pretty good with backlashes, but this one was really bad. And a bad backlash on braid is a whole lot different than a backlash on mono or fluorocarbon. You know, it was a good week just to spend some time away, although our minds were not free with all the stuff that's happened and the news we received and all the other things that are going on with our business and COVID, etc. So it was good to spend some time away, though, with the one that you love. I will use a term from fishing. She is a keeper.